Hello everybody and welcome back to Reading with Grandma. Today we are going to read a really super fun book by Robert Munsch. If any of you guys have ever read anything or had a story by Robert Munsch read to you, they are so funny. Today we're going to read The Paper Bag Princess. This is one of his really good ones. Elizabeth was a beautiful princess. She lived in a castle and had expensive princess clothes. She was going to marry a prince named Ronald. Unfortunately, a dragon smashed her castle, burned all her clothes with his fiery breath, and carried off Prince Ronald. Poor Princess Elizabeth. Elizabeth decided to chase the dragon and get Ronald back. She looked everywhere for something to wear, but the only thing she could find that was not burnt was a paper bag. So she put on the paper bag and followed the dragon. He was easy to follow because he left a trail of burnt forest and horses' bones. Finally, Elizabeth came to a cave with a large door that had a huge knocker on it. She took hold of the knocker and banged on the door. The dragon stuck his nose out of the door and said, "Well, a princess! I love to eat princesses, but I have already eaten a whole castle today. I am a very busy dragon. Come back tomorrow." He slammed the door so fast that Elizabeth almost got her nose caught. Elizabeth grabbed the knocker and banged on the door again. The dragon stuck his nose out of the door and said, "Go away. I love to eat princesses, but I have already eaten a whole castle today. I am a very busy dragon. Come back tomorrow." "Wait!" shouted Elizabeth. "Is it true that you are the smartest and fiercest dragon in the whole world?" "Yes," said the dragon. "Is it true," said Elizabeth, "that you can burn up 10 forests with your fiery breath?" "Oh, yes," said the dragon, and he took a huge deep breath and breathed out so much fire that he burnt up 50 forests. "Fantastic," said Elizabeth, and the dragon took another huge breath and breathed out so much fire that he burned up 100 forests. "Magnificent," said Elizabeth, and the dragon took another huge breath, but this time nothing came out. The dragon didn't even have enough fire to cook a meatball. Elizabeth said, "Dragon, is it true that you can fly around the world in just 10 seconds?" "Why, yes," said the dragon, and jumped up and flew all the way around the world in just 10 seconds. He was very tired when he got back, but Elizabeth shouted, "Fantastic! Do it again?" So the dragon jumped up and flew around the whole world in 20 seconds. When he got back, he was way too tired to talk, and he lay down and went straight to sleep. Elizabeth whispered very softly, "Hey, dragon." The dragon didn't move at all. She lifted up the dragon's ear and put her head right inside. She shouted as long as she could, "Hey, dragon!" The dragon was so tired he didn't even move. Elizabeth walked right over to the dragon and opened the door to the cave. There was Prince Ronald. He looked at her and said, "Elizabeth, you're a mess. You smell like ashes, your hair is all tangled, and you're wearing a dirty old paper bag. Come back when you're dressed like a real princess." That wasn't very nice. She came to rescue him. "Ronald," said Elizabeth, "your clothes are really pretty, and your hair is very neat. You look like a real prince, but you are a bum." They didn't get married after all. And that, boys and girls, is The Paper Bag Princess. And this is not as funny as some of his stories, but it is. This gives you the lesson, teaches you the lesson that you don't have to have fancy clothes and a great big castle to live in to be a nice person. You can be a very nice person and have paper bags to wear or not so good clothes. So I hope everybody enjoyed The Paper Bag Princess. Now we're going to read Curious George at the Fire Station. We went from wherever the paper bag princess was in the castle, and now we're going to go to a fire station with our favorite little monkey, Curious George. George and the man with the yellow hat were visiting the fire station. "Hello, George," said the fire chief. "How would you like to wear a fireman's hat?" George put on the big hat. They looked at the fire engines. "We're proud of them," said the chief. Oops, sorry, drop the camera. "We're proud of them," said the chief. "We keep them as bright and shiny as we can." One fireman was polishing a big brass bell on the wall. "This is our fire alarm," said the chief. "Whenever there is a fire, it rings." Another bell was on the engine. "We ring that bell on our way to the fire," said the chief, "so that people will get out of the way." "And this is Sally, our Dalmatian. She just had 10 puppies. The puppies stay in a basket on the second floor with the firemen." They all went up to the second floor. The puppies were in a straw basket by the wall. "Yip, yip, yip," they barked. One tried to jump up and lick George's face. Near the basket was a big round hole with a pole in the middle. "When the alarm rings," said the chief, "the firemen slide down the pole to the fire engines below." "You may slide down if you want to, George," said the chief. "But be careful," said the man with the yellow hat. George slid down the pole like a real fireman. Then he climbed onto the fire engine, and he sat behind the steering wheel. "Make way, here comes George the fireman." George was curious. What would happen if he rang the bell? Clang, clang, clang went the bell. The fireman heard it and jumped out of bed. "Fire, fire, fire," they shouted. Quickly they put on their uniforms and slid down the pole. It was a false alarm. When the firemen got to the engine, all they saw was a little monkey. "George," said the chief, "fighting fires is serious business. Get off that engine right now." George felt terrible. At that moment, they heard a dog bark. Sally was looking up at the top of the fire pole. One of the puppies had gotten out of its basket and was looking over the edge of the hole. One more step and it would fall. George knew what to do. He climbed up the pole as fast as he could. Then he held out his hat to catch the puppy in case it should fall. Sure enough, the puppy slipped and plop, landed right in George's hat. "That was using your head, George," said the chief. "You saved the puppy. I'm making you an honorary fireman of the station. You can keep the hat, too." "Come back and visit any time," shouted the chief, as George and the man in the yellow hat got into their car to drive home. But George never, ever went back to the fire station and rang the bell when there wasn't a fire, 'cause that's dangerous. The firemen get all excited thinking that they had to go out, and they didn't, and that's a dangerous thing to do. So no boys and girls ring a fire bell unless there's really, really, truly a fire. And that is the end of our adventure for today. I hope you enjoyed our stories. Let me know in the comments below if you like them and what you'd like to hear. Hit the like button. Hit the bell so you know when I'm reading again. And if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you subscribe. So have a good day, everybody, and keep reading. Bye.